Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my monthly horror and now thriller vlog. So if you didn't check out my vlog for May, I will leave it down in the description. I read all horror books, but this go round I'm going to read some thrillers and some horror. I am currently 71% of the way through The Maidens, and I wanted to talk through it because I think the reveals are about to happen. For some context, I read his first book, the really popular one, The Silent Patient. I didn't really care for it. I gave it 3 stars. I don't really like the ending of it. So going into this one, I had already heard way worse reviews, and I had heard several things. So the first thing that I had heard was that it has a similar twist at the end. Everything that you think is happening is happening. There is a twist in there that people don't like is used as a plot twist. So I'm gonna break it down and talk about my thoughts because I have not been spoiled for this. So this is about a woman who gets a call in the middle of the night. She is a group therapist. She gets a call in the middle of the night from her niece or something. I can't remember what the relation is. A girl that she and her husband like basically raised, that says that a girl that she knew on campus has been murdered and she needs her help figuring it out, aka the niece is doing nothing and she's the one figuring it out. So she goes to the campus, and when she gets there, she's doing some investigating. She finds out that the girl was murdered, and there is a lot of ties to her in this like secret society run by one of the teachers there. The secret society that he runs seems to be very cult-like. They all wear white dresses and they all are like enamored with him, and there seems to be a lot of like mysterious stuff around him, and another girl eventually goes missing. So I'm gonna go into the spoiler section of this, so I will be talking about The Silent Patient and my thoughts on this one. So if you are interested in this book, go ahead and skip to the timestamp below where the spoilers end. Twist is the same as the twist in The Silent Patient. So The Silent Patient's twist was that the point of view that you have is the one that was that caused the traumatic event to happen to the woman in the first one, or in that. So if that is true, that means that the main character in this one is unreliable and that she is the one that is killing these girls. I don't quite get how the leap will be made there, but possibly we could get there. The other one is that whatever you think is happening is exactly what is happening, and that would mean that the culty guy is actually killing these girls. There are some ties into maybe like a ritual or something like that. The other complaint is that the plot twist is something that people don't like used in thrillers. So there's a lot of things that I don't like used as plot devices in thrillers. Mental illness, sexual assault, or like the trope just being the crazy other woman, or those kind of tropes. So if we were to assume that it is the mental illness, it would make sense because we are also getting a point of view of a guy who seems to have what people categorize or what people stereotypically think of as multiple personality disorder, and there is talk about psychopathy and things like that. Again, I don't know, but that would make sense, and I don't love that. I don't like mental illness and used as a plot device, and we could certainly get into the ethics of that if we wanted to, but the sexual assault thing I could obviously understand with the cult aspect. The crazy other woman again would fall into the narrator being the... So we know that her husband is dead. We could maybe stretch that possibly the teacher is her husband and that she's like the unreliable other woman. We could think that, and she's just jealous of the woman in this cult. I don't think so, because other people that we have seen know Sebastian. So like her niece or whatever knows Sebastian and has made reference to Sebastian, and Sebastian being dead, who's her husband. So I don't think that that's it. Well, we'll see what happens. I personally think it's going to be the mental illness thing because of this other POV, which I'm not a mega big fan of. So my assumptions are, and we'll see if I'm right or not. Going based off of the exactly what you think is happening, I think Faustus, the cult leader, the professor, is the culprit. I think that he has some sort of mental illness that is going to explain away why he's behaving that way, as if mental illness is a precursor for violence. I think that the reason the women are being killed is because of this ritual, or because he's assaulting them and they're planning to speak out. Something along those lines. That's what I'm feeling. That's what makes the most sense to me based on what I've heard so far. So like I said, I'm 71% of the way through, and we will chat about that when I'm done. Obviously spoiler free, but I'm not confident that I'm going to love it if any of what I predicted is what actually is happening, but I will certainly let you know when I know. I finished The Maidens, and two stars. I'm gonna get into spoilers so I can like talk about this book. I don't recommend it. If you haven't read it, you want to skip spoilers, go ahead. The twist of the story is that her husband is dead, but he was having a relationship with their niece from the age of 6, I guess. That's kind of unclear. And he killed the main character's grandfather to get money, and then planned on killing the main character to get out of the marriage and then be with the niece. And the point of view that we were getting wasn't multiple personality, which is good. It was just him writing, I guess. I don't know what the point of his point of view was, but it was him. She was acting out his plans. So she framed the teacher, she killed all of the girls, she made it look like it was the teacher, and that's the explanation we get. It ends with her being in the hospital, the niece, and then the main character going to visit the hospital, and then there's a connection between her friend and the dude from The Silent Patient. That shit is so dumb. Like, if you had asked me for the most illogical ending I could think of, it would be this. It deserves the 2 stars. All of the shit that it gets, I'm sorry, but it deserves it because it did make sense. It's bad. The point of a twist in my mind, the twist happens and you're like, oh shit. And then you have to think back to the story to see if there were breadcrumbs all along that you missed. How would I have gotten this? There was no breadcrumbs. There was nothing. It doesn't make any sense. I'm so mad that I wasted my time reading this. At least I know why this book pisses people off, because that was real bad. Okay, so I have finished another book. I finished Not a Happy Family. This is my first book by this author, and it was a little disappointing. In the beginning of the book, their parents are murdered, and they are like incredibly rich, and the rest of the story is unraveling all the family secrets and trying to find out who murdered them. I won't say that the ending wasn't, I'll say that the ending wasn't like super satisfactory, but I think the journey getting there was nice. Like, I think that the author did a good job of making it so that every character that you interacted with has a reason to want to kill their parents. I think it was obvious if I had paid attention, but I guess I wasn't paying that much attention. I'm not a huge like domestic thriller fan, but it did the job and I enjoyed the journey there. So that is that one. So yesterday I finished Firekeeper's Daughter, and I don't have too much to say about it because it wasn't really my type of book. I ended up giving it 3 stars. It is about this girl named Donice who is recruited by the FBI to investigate a string of heroin dealings in her community, and this is mostly about community. It's steeped in Ojibwe culture. It follows the issues that the Ojibwe community faces, like drug abuse, sexual assault, and I wouldn't say that the mystery aspect of it is really too strong. I think when I say YA mystery, you could assume that it probably is an amateur sleuth, and there really wasn't much investigating going on. The main character ends up falling in love with FBI agents who is undercover. I hated the romance. And this is a romance lover, someone who you can give me the slimmest characteristics that make me believe that they would work together and I'm on board. But with this, I just hated it. So it wasn't really my type of book. I love that we are seeing Indigenous author literature. I love that this book is very recognized. It's won a lot of awards. It was a Reese Witherspoon YA selection. Like, I love that it's getting recognition because we do not have enough Indigenous stories. I think I was just going in with different expectations of what this was. It was a YA story about a girl trying to find her place and help her community and experiencing her culture, and what it's like to be half in, half out. A lot of stuff that is great, and I would recommend to anybody that loves those sorts of stories, and I would definitely recommend to a younger audience. But it just wasn't what I was looking for the purposes of what I thought the story was. So now I'm going to read Rock, Paper, Scissors, which I'm not anticipating the best results with. I have heard that it's not that great. Hi friends. So I finished Rock, Paper, Scissors, and as expected, I gave this 3 stars. And I don't know how many thriller books it's going to take for me to acknowledge that thrillers just like are not my genre. But apparently we're not there yet because I still read this. So this is about a man and a woman who are married and they're going on vacation to like save their marriage, and they go to like this really creepy inn where there is nobody and it's like seems to be abandoned. They both have like their own motivations for wanting to go there, and then we're also alternating points of view with what seems to be a diary of the wife and another woman who is monitoring them at this cottage. And I feel like it didn't deliver on the premise that I felt like was the interesting premise. Each point of view from the husband and wife, they keep saying like, find out by the end of this trip, or we're both the only one that are going to be leaving at the end of this trip. And then like nothing goes, it doesn't go anywhere with that concept. Like they don't actively try to like fuck with each other. The remainder of the book was a little bit disappointing, and it could be that I was just mega busy while I was listening to the audiobook, so I wasn't like taking in all of the details of the story. But I felt like the creepy stuff that was set up to be going down at this inn, this abandoned inn, just wasn't happening enough. Like there was a couple of weird things going on, but mostly it was just a little bit boring, but the twists were good. I enjoyed the twist. If you like unreliable narrators, you will love this. All of them are unreliable. They're all pieces of shit. They all suck. So that is that one. Next, I'm going to read In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, which I'm very excited for. This was like the book that I've been most excited to get to this month, so hopefully I enjoy it. I don't have any super meaningful updates for you because I've only finished one book since I updated you last, and I finished Salem's Ropes, and I gave this 2 stars. This is the story about a guy who moves his family into an old house in Salem, Mass, and it spends 99% of the book recounting history. Like I felt like I was reading a history book. The house is supposed to be haunted that they're living in, and nothing super interesting was happening with the haunting. And then I also wanted to talk about some other books that I picked up on Kindle but I didn't actually finish and or start because of various reasons. So I started The Modern Prometheus. This is like a Frankenstein retelling about a guy who wakes up after an accident and his body parts have been like removed and changed around like with other body parts. And I don't find this sort of horror interesting, so I just DNF'd it. But the writing wasn't bad, so like if you are into this type of like medical body horror, like Frankenstein-esque, I would say pick it up. And then the 2 that I found on Kindle Unlimited that I felt like I should warn you about. So one was Wedgwood, which I found this categorized as horror, but looking at the Goodreads reviews, this seems to be like a coming-of-age fantasy story, so I didn't pick it up because I was looking for horror. And then the other thing was The Fog Hospital, which doesn't really have it doesn't have a Goodreads page or any reviews or anything like that on Amazon, and I picked it up and it's absolutely atrocious. The writing is very bad, so if you see that on Kindle Unlimited, don't pick it up. But those are the updates that I have for you. We will come back again later. Alright friends, I have read the last thriller horror book I'm probably going to read for the month. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the reading vlog here. I ended up finishing In My Dreams I Held a Knife and I gave it 4 stars. So this is the story about a girl who kind of went to like this prestigious college, and she is returning like 10 years later for their high school reunion, and she wants to show them that she's back and she's better than she's ever been, and the loss of their friendship, this group of 7's friendship, is not affecting her in any way. Show up at this reunion and one of their old friend's brother shows up and says, I know you killed, I think her name's like Tiffany or something like that. When they were in college, one of their friends was murdered and they blamed it on her boyfriend, but her brother doesn't think that that's actually who did it. And so he starts to unravel all the secrets that are involved in their friend group, and it's good. It wasn't like the best thing I've ever read. A lot of reviews are like 5 stars, my favorite thriller of all time. I just don't think that I'm ever going to be able to give a thriller 5 stars. And this was just the case here, but it was mega fun. It felt very much like Gossip Girl. It had like that dark academia toxicity. It dealt with sexual assault between teachers and students, power imbalance, a lot of different things. So it was good. I enjoyed it. 4 stars, but not anything too crazy. So that is the last book I'm going to read. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts on anything that I read in this video, or if you have a recommendation for me, let me know. If you don't have anything to say, leave a blood drop down in the comments. I will catch you guys in my next one, and thanks so much for watching.